Okay. All right, everybody. Sorry for the technical issues. My computer is kind of overloaded. I never had this many people on my show, so I don't think it knows how to handle it. So as you guys can see, I have some special guests in the house. I have Steve Bergamy and Matt Garza from the Forever First Foundation, and also Corey Hogue from Corey Hogue Sports. How you guys doing today?
Doing good. Thanks for having us.
Great.
Doing great. We got some football on tonight, so it's all good.
As long as you've got Amazon, right?
Yeah, that's true. There's gonna be a lot of mad people when they go to flip it on and they can't find it.
Yeah.
Oh, my mom. Guys, I'm already getting ready for it. My mom's gonna be calling me about 7:23, and she's gonna wonder why the game's not on because she paid for the extra NFL Network package on her cable. And when I explained it to her, it's not gonna be a good conversation.
That's funny.
All right, so as you guys can see, we got some faces y'all don't know. So I decided to reach out and bring in some experts. I hope they don't mind me calling them that. Some guys from UIW, Learning Word, they're facing the Prairie View Panthers this weekend. And also Corey covers pretty much everything in Texas. So let's start off with Steve. Can you give us some facts about the UIW team this season?
Well, I mean, this is a very, very exciting football team. They love to play very fast offensively, like to score a lot of points. If you look at, the majority of our scoring drives all season, you're talking minute, 2 minutes, less than 3 minute scoring drives. So they love to throw the ball around. They love to play fast, get up to the line. And defensively, they love to fly around. They really love to get to the quarterback. We have a guy right now with 6 sacks in 2 games. And the defense also has back-to-back games with a defensive touchdown. So there's playmakers on both sides of the ball. They play a very, very fast, exciting style of football. And if you haven't had a chance to check out the UIW Cardinals, this Saturday, put on ESPN Plus or come out to Prairie View and watch them live. I mean, they're a lot of fun, and you're going to see some of these guys playing on Sundays here pretty soon.
All right, Matt, you want to chime in it to get us started?
Yeah, Steve, you nailed it right on the head. It's been a fun brand of football. GJ Kinney bringing in some new staff, but also keeping some of the staff from last year, and you can see, that cohesion with the offense. The offensive line is a a very mature group. Been playing a lot of ball at UIW, and you stick in Lindsey Scott to kind of lead it, and you got these playmakers on the outside and at running back. It's been a lot of fun offensively, and then Jonathan Patke coming in as a defensive coordinator over from Miami. With that attacking style, it's been a lot of fun to watch, and I think, last year they thought maybe this was a one-man team. And, hey, we brought 18 starters back from last year as a conference championship team. And, you plug and play, and we got a lot of good kids, really quality kids. And so far, so good here in these first 2 games. And we're looking forward to getting out to Prairie View on Saturday. We're going to have a tailgate out there, and can't wait to visit that stadium. It looks like a good one, and it's just been a lot of fun so far. And we can't wait for the next one.
All right, Corey, do you want to share any thoughts on UIW?
It's First off, Matt, it was not a one-man show last year. It was far from it. That team had so much talent. I wasn't really worried coming into this season about the offense. We knew Lindsey Scott Jr. was going to be good. They've got Darian Chafin out there at wideout and Taylor Grimes, the All-American guy, which opens it up for probably the best NFL prospect on the team right now, which is Chafin. The scouts are just drooling over his size and ability out there. And my question was on defense, and not that would they be good, but would they be able to produce the turnovers and at the rate that they did under Eric Morris? Because that was one of the things they really focused on in his tenure there. And I wondered how that would kind of translate over. So far, so good. UIW is one of the few teams in the state of Texas that has far exceeded my expectations early this year. Look, there's still going to be some lulls. Every college football team does not play their absolute best every weekend, but they're talented enough and I think sound enough fundamentally. They'll overcome those lulls, and they should just keep on rolling.
All right, so we got a comment from one of our viewers. He wants to know, do you guys feel like there's any type of drop-off at quarterback this season from last season?
Not right now. No, it's it definitely it was definitely tough losing a guy like Cam Ward. He's big, tall, huge arm, tremendously accurate. So when he left, there was a lot of uncertainty, who would come in to fill that spot. And I don't think we could have asked for a better replacement in Lindsey Scott Jr. I mean, he's played in this conference. I remember the first time really watching him was when in the spring 2021, he tore UIW up and put 75 points on us. And I just remember watching him that game thinking, like, this guy's unstoppable. Like he's the fastest guy on the field. He's just a tremendous playmaker. And, I think coming in, once we got him, there still was a lot of uncertainty because, a lot of people kind of wrote him off as this, run first type quarterback and maybe he'll throw little short passes here and there. But I mean, he's just blown our expectations out the water when it comes to his passing, his ability to read the field, read coverages. He doesn't rely on his feet to make plays, but if he gets in a bad situation or needs to get out of the pocket, he'll do some scrambling. And then he's also just looking downfield the whole time, looking for guys that are wide open. So, I mean, there definitely has not been a drop off. And, I don't think there's any quarterback in the FCS and in the FBS that's playing better football than Lindsey Scott Jr. is right now. So we're tremendously grateful and lucky to have a player of his caliber leading this offense.
Yeah, just to piggyback off that, Steve, I think I saw something. He's got 15 incompletions and 10 touchdowns. So, I mean, what more needs to be said? Yeah. He's a great guy too. He's been a big leader for the team, vocally. And so, like Steve said, we're lucky to have him lead the charge here.
I feel like that question's setting us up because I love both Cam Ward and Lindsey Scott Jr.
Oh yeah, we loved Cam last year. I mean, we loved Cam for the past 2 years. Absolutely.
They're really, honestly, guys, they're two completely different players, though. Cameron Ward is not. He's one that he's got a superb accuracy, big arm, but he's not a guy that can really get out of the pocket too often. He could, but not like Lindsey Scott. Lindsey Scott brings a dimension to this offense. He's able, because those receivers are so good, they get separation. He's able to hit those guys deep, throw every pass they need him to throw. And then his speed and ability to see the field when he gets outside the pocket just changes the entire game. And I did not think I would say this coming in, but right now I have to say UIW is a step above where they were last year. And if you remember last year, they were 1 yard from beating the reigning national champions at their place. So things are really looking up in San Antonio.
Yeah, and credit to GJ Kinney, coming in and keeping Mac Leftwich as offensive coordinator, and it's been great. And GJ wants to run the ball too, so I know we're probably not going to toss it around 60 times a game, but As you saw last week, I think we ran the ball, Steve, 40 times, and just a balanced offense. So, and credit to the offensive line. Those guys are underrated. I feel like in the FCS, there's going to be a couple of those guys that are going to get a shot to play in the NFL. So it's been fun.
All right. This is for Corey. What are your thoughts on Prairie View?
You know, I really like this Prairie View team. I really love what the step forward that I've seen Trayvon Conley take at quarterback. Coming out of the read option, he's making reads a lot quicker. He's making them a lot better. He's making the right read. He's one of those big guys that can absolutely kill you with his feet. He gets downfield and he can run over defensive backs. He's got that size. His passing ability wasn't really shown against Texas Southern, but he showed last week against Abilene Christian that he can throw the ball, and they had a pretty decent time doing that. The key for Prairie View this week, they've got to make sure they don't have any turnovers. You can't give UIW extra offensive possessions. And then the defense, can they slow them down? Now, you're talking a team that has played an FCS team, and they've played an FBS team, a top 10 FCS team, then an FBS team, and they put up 119 points. So the Prairie View defense is going to have their hands full. And, you know, the offensive line, I think the key to this is watching that running game for Prairie View. If they can block, they had a hard time with Abilene Christian's defensive front, and UIW's got a pretty good defensive front too. So that's my – on the Panthers offense. On the Panthers defensive side, the defensive line is very fast. I saw somebody put that comment. They are fast. They are extremely fast, and they're very skilled at along their front seven. They might be the best front seven they've had in Prairie View that I can remember, definitely since before Dooley got there. So that is a front seven that's going to be tough. The back end, the defensive backs, we're gonna find out how good they are this week. Those defensive backs are gonna have their hands full with the UIW receivers.
Yeah, Corey, I think I heard GJ earlier in the week say this was going to be the best offense they faced so far, these first three games, this Prairie View team. They got some people that, you know, can make some explosive plays. So who knows? Hopefully it's not a barn burner on our end, but you never know. It's going to be could be, but we'll see.
You never know. Hopefully, you know, it's an entertaining game, so I can keep watching it. I don't want to tune it out too early. So this question for either one of you guys, who is the primary play caller for UIW?
Good question.
Right now, it's Mac Leftwich. He was the quarterback coach last year and was retained by GJ Kinney, and so he's the primary play caller right now. There is, you know, obviously collaboration between the two, between GJ Kinney and Mac, and I'm sure GJ will have the final say on certain situations. But yeah, right now it's Mac Leftwich, and yeah, he's been doing a fantastic job. You know, watching some of these, you know, games when, you know, against Nevada, offense kind of started off a little slow, had two turnovers in their first three plays, but you know, I was really pleased with like the play calling. He did a great job getting the guys out of a rut, you know, making sure, hey, no need to panic. Let's just play. Let's just do what we do best, play our game. And yeah, you see what happened. Ended up putting 55 on them.
55 with two turnovers. That is still that's unbelievable. I saw that score and I was like, I got to find out what's going on with this team. So I'm definitely intrigued. What are you guys' keys to the game?
Well, I think for UIW, it's you know, don't beat yourselves. The penalties that they've had the first two games have been a little worrisome. You know, had some unsportsmanlike penalties in the first game against Nevada. You know, had some false starts. You know, some couple holding things here and there. So really, I think as long as they, you know, play smart, you know, don't do anything too too stupid or anything like that. Don't beat yourselves. I think everything else should fall in line if they just played the game that they can.
Yeah, look, to me, this game really does come down to the turnover battle. If one team is committing a few turnovers, it's going to favor the other team in a large way, because this is going to be a high-scoring affair. These offenses are really good, and they run so fast, especially UIW. They love to play so fast. So the defense is really going to be tested. Who can get the stops? Who can get the turnovers, and then who can just get off the field on a third down? That is so key in this game. And then when you get down inside that 20, especially if you're have to execute, you have got to come out of there. If you're in the red zone 6 times, you need 5 touchdowns. Field goals are not going to beat UIW.
Yeah, and I think, Corey, hey, we had UIW's coming off a big FBS win. Next week they got, Southeastern Louisiana, which is always a big game for UIW. So just keeping the focus here at with PV. It's a respectable opponent and playing their game. So those quote unquote trap games. This is one. So I have faith in GJ that he's going to have the guys ready to go, and it'll be a fun one on Saturday night for sure.
All right. Well, I just want to ask a couple more questions. This is a general question. What's the state of the Southland right now?
Who wants to go first?
Yeah, Corey, you covered the Southland as a whole. Why don't we hear from you?
You know what? This conference has gone from strong to will it survive to one of the strongest conferences again, just in a matter of a year. It's been so crazy what this conference has done. But you got to give Chris Grant credit, the commissioner that came in. He has done an excellent job. Let's face it, guys. UIW and Lamar did not belong in the WAC. Okay, they're not the same. You don't want to travel 2,000 miles for a volleyball game. You just don't want to do that stuff. In the Southland, they know what their deal is. The commissioner, Chris Grant, called it a gas tank league. It takes you a gas tank to get to the opponent and a gas tank to get home. And that really provides a good base and more interest from the fans and stuff. Because, look, when Sam Houston, SFA, these teams go out to Southern Utah fans don't give a darn about SFA or Sam Houston. But when UIW goes to play Southeastern Louisiana, you're going to get UIW fans. Everybody knows it's kind of that regional battle. So what the Southland has done to strengthen their football conference, and adding Texas A&M Commerce is a really good add. They're right there geographically in what they want to do. And so they are in a much stronger position than they were. Getting Lamar deciding to come back a year early, that was a great choice for Lamar. And going forward, it looks like, as far as the Southland, if they do anything, I see maybe an expansion of one more team in there. But their men's basketball is pretty solid. Their football is set. They're definitely going to have the AQ, which you get in the playoffs, anything can happen. So, and the baseball is pretty solid in the Southland too. So you've got a wide range of things, and I think that conference far and away the best FCS conference that I cover right now as far as like stability.
Yeah, Corey, we agree with you. At first we were excited about the WAC move just because it was something different, something new. But then once we made that switch to the Southland, we talked amongst ourselves at all of our alumni, and we were happy with the decision that Richard Duran made. So, we got some pretty good rivalries that have been, formulating over the past few years. And we agree. We like the Southland. We think it's going to be a strong conference, going forward. So we're happy with it. That's for sure.
Yeah. And I think, once Sam Houston announced their intentions to go FBS, and the WAC kind of destabilized, and it wasn't really the exact same conference we were kind of looking to join and sign up for. So, we're happy with staying in the Southland. Like you said, it's a lot easier to travel to some of these road games. We have a a big Houston alumni base for UIW alums, and so we've traveled to Houston Baptist, we've traveled to Lamar. We want to plan next season whenever we play McNeese and St. Charles, go stay over there. So we're happy with it. There's a lot of good competitive football teams in the Southland. It kind of seems like everyone's off to a little bit of a slow start. Some teams playing 2 FBS schools and stuff like that. So the win-loss record maybe doesn't really reflect how strong some of these teams are. But Southeastern will be up there. They're perennial top 25 ranked team. Nichols has always been solid. McNeese beat us last year. So we really like the level of competition in the Southland, and hopefully UIW can keep this level of success up and get that automatic qualifying bid to the playoffs.
Yeah, what you were saying, Steve, as far as competition in the Southland, I am not worried about Nichols or Southeastern or McNeese or any of those right now. Every team in the FCS typically needs to play a money game every year, at least one. And a lot of the Southland teams, they need to pay too. These money games are huge. They fund the athletic department for an entire year. So you don't really learn anything about a team when they play an FBS school. If I watch any of it, I may watch a quarter just to kind of get an idea, see some things, see if they've changed anything schematically, because you're not going to line up physically with with those Power 5 and Group of 5 teams. It just doesn't happen. So when Nichols and Southeastern and they start getting into conference play, they're going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can take the lineup against a Power 5 school. My team did that this weekend, and it was not pretty for a quarter. So I understand, but I like to thank the guys from the Forever First Foundation. I know you guys probably got some things to do. I appreciate you guys stopping by and telling us a little bit about UIW, because I know a lot of people don't really know. Some people have never heard of you guys, so it's good to introduce so they don't get a rude awakening when the game starts. But I'd like to thank you guys for stopping by.
Thanks for having us, man. Great
Absolutely.
show.
Yeah, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you. Corey, can you stay for a few?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm good.
All right. So I'm gonna switch to before we go to the next game I want to talk to you about. I wanted to ask, since you cover the Southland, what exactly is going on with McNeese? They don't seem like they're playing McNeese football right now.
Well, they've had a lot of coaching changes. And when you have that instability and constant turnover at the head coaching position, you every time you're reinstalling a new identity. And so the identity starts to get lost. And I think that's happened to McNeese. I think that McNeese is an awesome player. They've got everything they need to recruit. They've got the atmosphere they need to win games. But they just need to find a coach that's going to be there for a little while. Some of the movement definitely is not their fault, but they need to rebuild. They've been in a rebuilding, and we got to remember McNeese went through those hurricanes and they really devastated the entire school and every program in it. And so not only are they rebuilding their city, but they're kind of rebuilding their football programs at the same time. So they may be a little down for a couple of years, but if they hold the course, they've got everything it takes to be a front runner again in the Southland.
Do you think Alcorn has a chance against them this weekend?
Oh, yes, very much so. I think Alcorn could beat them. I really do. Like, it would not surprise me to see either team come out of that. I think that one's going to be a pretty close game, but if it's 7 to 10 points, I think that, of a difference, I think that would favor the Braves.
Yeah, McNeese has been a thorn in the side of the SWAC. They're 12-0 against the SWAC. The last few years, they've beaten Southern and Alcorn. I'm a Southern alum. I'm a Jaguar fan. I was at the last 2 games between the 2 teams. Like 14 turnovers combined, exaggerated number, but we turned the ball over a lot in 2 games. And I thought we had a chance to win both of those games. Alcorn had a chance I think the last time they played them. So hopefully Alcorn can get us over the hump. I'm still kind of figuring out Alcorn. Have you been keeping up with them yet?
I have not. I didn't get to watch the game with SFA. It was behind a paywall, so I turned to some of the other 20 games I had that weekend going on. So I have not I've not watched them play. I've kept up with kind of how they did against SFA. They came out really hot, and honestly, they gave SFA more of a game than I think the Lumberjacks expected, and that really does kind of portend well to them playing good football in McNeese.
Yeah, so they're kind of, I don't want to say they're in a rebuilding because I don't really believe Alcorn rebuilds, but they are kind of like in a kind of reset phase. So this is a good test for them. I expect a physical game because McNeese, they will get after you. So I want to tune into that. But the game that I wanted to talk to you about is Southern and Texas Southern. We have a lot of TSU people that watch this show.
Nice. They
They believe that they're going to beat Southern. They beat Southern last year. That was like the first time in 10 years. I like to remind them of that. Who do you think has the best chance of winning that game?
Oh, my goodness. Well, I could spend a long time breaking this down. I will be at that game Saturday in Arlington. I will be covering that and then providing a kind of a 3 things that I learned from that game and from about on Texas Southern on Dave Campbell's on TexasFootball.com after the game. So I'm really looking forward to this one. I don't know how to read Southern this year. They haven't. If you don't play an FCS team, it's just hard to know how good a team can be. And so, the first game, yes, hey, look, Eric Dooley's a great coach. We know that. I saw what he did up on the Hill at Prairie View. He is a fantastic coach. He is the best dressed coach I've ever met. I love interviewing him because he's going to have the finest
By far. By far.
every time. It's just so awesome. But, he's good in the big stages. Every time they played Grambling at the Cotton Bowl, he always comes in. His team's ready. So I don't doubt Southern is going to be ready. I just don't know anything about them. LSU doesn't teach you anything about yourself other than the pay game, and the first game didn't. So Texas Southern might have a little edge as to what they've played 2 FCS teams, or an FCS and an FBS team with North Texas. Some could argue maybe down on the level of FCS at times. But, for Texas Southern, that offense and Andrew Body, of course, everything runs through him, and it does. Because I would say 90% of their plays are either a read option or an RPO. And why not? If you've got one of the most dynamic quarterbacks in college football on your team, you let him make those decisions and you let him run the show. The problem that that Texas Southern has is on the defensive side of things. They have got to find a way to get stops. We could be in for a 5.5-hour game if these defenses aren't able to step up.
Well, I will say if Southern does what Southern typically does, which is run the football, the game is probably going to be quicker than normal. Like you said, I've been saying since the preseason that this is Southern's first game of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Playing an NAIA school and an FBS Power 5 school, you have no clue what your team is. We pulled our starters in the first quarter against Florida Memorial, so they didn't get any reps really. So, and you don't really know because the level of competition. Take a step up against LSU. Against their first unit, we turned the ball over 4 times, gave up 37 points. Their second unit and third unit, we played better. So there's still no indication. So this game always makes me nervous. TSU plays Southern very tough all the time. So I'm really nervous. I believe my team would win, but I'm always nervous of this game. So do you think that having a guy like Andrew Body will be something that could put TSU over the edge in this game?
Last year, quite honestly, it's so funny because these teams, it's completely different. I was at the game the first time they had this showdown in Dallas at the Cotton Bowl a few years ago, and I covered that game, and my goodness, man, it was a defensive battle. These teams are not the same teams they were back then. Clarence McKinney has done a fantastic job at Texas Southern, and you give Eric Dooley time, and you know Southern is going to be right back up there at the top of the conference and threatening not only in the West, which they could do that this year, but threatening Jackson State and Florida A&M. I mean, he's got that kind of ability as a coach. He's just a great coach. I think Andrew Body can be an X factor, but either way, because if he's not with so much running through him, if Southern can confuse him some, he's not able to make the reads as well as he has over the first 2 weeks, then, you know, it could lead to some turnovers, and it could kind of stall that offense out a little bit. My concern with Texas Southern is on the defensive side of the ball. You don't learn a lot from North Texas. North Texas is physical. They're mean. They're tough in the trenches. They went out and bullied UTEP in week 1 or week 0 because the NCAA doesn't know how to count starting at 1. But they went out and bullied UTEP, and then last week, naturally, you know, Texas Southern does not have the size to stand up to that. That's going to be defensive line for Texas Southern. That front 7 has got to stop the run. If you can do that and you force Dooley's teams to pass the ball on a 3rd and long, that's when they get vulnerable. That's when you have a chance to really kind of take those extra possessions and beat them. So you can't turn the ball over 4 times either, though. You give Texas Southern 4 extra chances and Andrew Body's going to score on at least 3 of those. So you just can't give him 3 downs because he is going to burn you.
Yeah, I feel like this game, this game can go either way. The game to be like 28-20. I think it's like a 2-possession type of game, 1-score type game, but gonna be tight. I'll tell you. Do you see Texas Southern being a factor in? Oh, go ahead.
Oh, well, yes. To answer your question there initially, yes. Is Texas Southern? Do I see them being a factor in the West? Is that what you were wanting?
Yeah.
If they win this week, they are definitely a factor in the West. I'm not sure that the only other team in their way has already beaten them. Really, if they're able to get through this week, I'm not really sure what Grambling has to offer just yet, and so. That loss to Prairie View put Texas Southern behind the 8 ball as far as a conference goes. But if Prairie View stumbles a couple of times in conference play, Texas Southern could certainly be the next school in line. And it's interesting because this game is going to be close. I look at Massey ratings and I look at Bill Connolly from ESPN with his SP+. And Massey has Southern winning 38-34, and Bill Connolly has Southern winning 34-32. So if it's anything close to that, and here's the other thing. I love the atmosphere at Choctaw Stadium. That place, when you step out there, it still has that big game atmosphere like it had when the reason why the fans loved it and hate the new ballpark across the street, because it's just got that feel of something great is about to happen when you step on the field at now Choctaw Stadium. And I have seen high school games, I've seen college games there, and nearly every one of them has been a classic. And the atmosphere just kind of calls for it, really. And so I think this year is going to be right in that 30s range. I would be surprised if it gets up to double digits in the victory.
Yeah, I think it would take an implosion by either team for this to be a double-digit game. I just think that if Southern can run the football because they have a veteran offensive line and they can open up holes, then I think Southern have a better chance. But if you said, like you said, if Southern gets put in long down and distances, especially on 3rd down, with an unproven quarterback and unproven passing game, really, that can give TSU some advantages. We did have a comment here. This says Texas Southern is still a very young team. Do you think that age, because this is like mainly freshmen, do you think that will play a factor in a game like this?
I would if they hadn't played Prairie View. When you play that Labor Day Classic to open the season. You really get baptized into the SWAC. And hey, shout out to the Blue Bloods, man. You guys are awesome too. I love what you guys do.
Yeah, that's
they're awesome. They're awesome. What I was saying there, when you start out with that Labor Day Classic and you're playing your the rival that's right there next to your home, and you're battling for bragging rights of your hometown in that first week. This rivalry game is a minor step below that. So as far as the emotion and the atmosphere from the youth, that's going to be fine. Playing in Arlington is going to be fine. Where you could see the youth start to really kind of factor in for them is as they go along. It's a lot. College football is a business, and when you get into the college area, you spend a lot more time practicing and lifting weights and training your body and doing those things than you do in high school. And so a freshman, especially along the line, they tend to wear down over the course of the long season. And the season usually is longer than most high school team seasons are too. So that can also play a role as sometimes you need another year to get those guys through that offseason program. That is just so huge. The jump a guy makes from freshman to sophomore year physically, because they've put in all that time and their body is now adjusted to it, is really large. So could the youth play a factor? Yes. This early in the season, I'm not sure, but you get 2, 3, 4 weeks further down the season and it could start really becoming a factor.
Yeah, I think it's important for a team like that to, they play like young teams play off of emotion. So they have to stay stable, can't get too high, they can't get too low. I think if that was any issue, it would be that that was my one question for Texas Southern this season, was how could they handle success if they were to, obviously they didn't beat Prairie View, but if they were to have beat Prairie View and then beat Southern, would they be able to manage those expectations as a younger team? That still can remain to be seen, because beating Southern and having the rest of these games ahead of you, anything can happen. So that's the one thing I'm looking at for TSU, is how they handle the week by week, because last season they were under the radar. This season, a lot of people, they're a trendy pick for a lot of people. So the eyes are on them. So
it's kind of funny. It's kind of funny when you talk about because you're exactly right. That's a great point. And so when you talk about these teams, when they first come a surprise, teams kind of know about them. But that first year after they kind of surprise, other teams are still somewhat, they don't take them necessarily less lightly, but they don't always go, these guys are really here until the next year. And I can give you a great example of that right now in Texas, Stephen F. Austin. I mean, SFA, they had high expectations this year because every year they were building up to those, kind of like Texas Southern has done. So, honestly, can they handle the expectations? That might be something we don't find out until next year with Texas Southern. Right now, the youth, they don't know any better, right? Like, they don't know they're not supposed to be doing this. They don't know they're not supposed to be winning. And sometimes that can work in your favor too.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes that's probably your best option, is to just, have those blurs, and be young and just feel like every game you can do what you need to do. When you get older, a lot of times those games start to mean more because you have less time. You've experienced a lot, so the pressure. So that's something that I'm keeping my eyes on. One thing I will say about Texas Southern, even going back to 2018, that team rarely got blowed out in conference play. Coach McKinney always had those guys battling. So I feel like they were, even though their record didn't indicate, they had a stretch in, I think it was 2019, where they lost 3 games by less than a touchdown or less. So when you play like that, even if you don't win, that's a growth. The great Bobby Bowden once said, you lose big, you lose close, you win close, you win big. So they at that in between point. So we'll see how they do.
Yeah, no, you're.
So I'm gonna ask you one more question before I'm gonna ask you one more question before I let you get out of here. Do you have a prediction for the game?
Oh, well, first off, my prediction is going to be completely biased because I cover 35 sub-FBS teams in the great state of Texas. And let me tell you, there's nothing better than Texas football at any level. So when it comes to this, I'm always going to pick the Texas team, at least out loud. Now, if you read my prediction, my previews on Dave Campbell's, do not take my advice and go gamble on this stuff. So far, head-to-head on my games of the week, I'm 1-2. So I don't always know exactly. I'm not real good on that. I can look at numbers, but I can't tell you who's going to win. Excuse me. I really think at the end of the day, Dooley, if they can control that ground game, they can. But the quarterback play is really the big question mark. They're gonna have situations where they're gonna have to throw the ball. I think Texas Southern, if you've got the better dude at quarterback, a lot of times you win those college football games. And Andrew Body is that guy out there. And I was interested to see how his sophomore season would go, and it seems he's actually taken a step forward. Some sophomores don't quite make that jump forward if they've had a really good freshman season, but not Mr. Body. That guy is amazing. And I think this is my ideal game right here. Ideally, it comes down to Texas Southern needing a drive to win the game with less than 2 minutes to go, and Andrew Body leads them down the field, scores as time runs out. I get to write a story about Texas Southern winning, and I get to see a classic game, and everybody's happy on this side at least. I don't think in the Jaguar Nation they'd be too happy about that.
You just gave me PTSD because you just described last season's game. We lost on a 4th down conversion. They drove and scored. So I would, if TSU was to win this game, I would rather they win it comfortably. I don't want another replay of that. Like I said, I think it's going either way. I'm always going to pick Southern on my show. This show, I always pick Southern. On my SWAC Talk show, I'm more objective. But you spoke like a true Texan. I'm a Louisiana guy. I go for a Louisiana team, so I understand. That state pride. So I love this matchup, and like Corey, I like to thank you for stopping by, man. I know I reached out to you last minute, but I like to thank you for joining me.
Hey, definitely. Anytime. Definitely hit me up. I am more than happy to come on. Thanks so much for having me. If you guys get a chance, go to texasfootball.com, read some of the stuff. If you like sub-FBS football, I do the best I can to cover every conference that I have as equal as possible. I'm a little surprised you want to blow out too, Charles. I got to be honest with you. I'm a little surprised.
No, not a blowout. Like 7 to 10 points. But you know how like sometimes there's a game where you already had a lead by a touchdown in the 4th quarter, and the other team just can't come over the hump. That's what I mean. Not a blowout. If it's a blowout, I'm expecting a Southern blowout, not the other way around. So don't get that confused.
Well, one thing I always want the Texas team to win because it gets more clicks on the website because I write for a Texas publication. So I always want the Texas team to win. But most importantly, as an unbiased observer, I just like to see a great game. It is no fun as a fan or as a writer to go to a game where the final score is 70-7. So I can't wait for this. I'm bringing my wife and my son Saturday. She's never attended an HBCU game yet. She didn't go to the Cotton Bowl with me when I did before because that place is just crazy down there, and my son was too young to get into the state fair at that point in time. But I'm looking forward to it. They're looking forward to it. And, I try to every year cover at least one game, either Prairie View or Texas Southern, because I love the halftime. I mean, the halftime, it's the only halftime that ever keeps me in my seat because these bands are awesome. The crowds are awesome. The way Southern travels, dude, you guys are amazing. It is incredible the way these SWAC schools will travel, will support their team, can tell you everything about their school. And I love every bit of it. They're just awesome fans, awesome people. I'm looking so forward to this weekend again. And hopefully we get one of those last-second classics that, I'd hate to break your heart, but If it breaks your heart, I'm all right with it.
Hey, just make sure your wife and son have on blue and gold. They'll fit in better with that on. It's a lot of Jaguars gonna be in the area, so you have a lot of hospitality. You might get you some gumbo if you make it in time for the tailgate. Somebody, I'm sure, will fix you something to eat. Can you tell the people where they can find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Corey Hogue Sports. You can find me at TexasFootball.com. We have the magazines you can see behind me. Dave Campbell's Texas Football, the Dave Campbell's Texas Basketball will be coming out here in about a month or month and a half. We preview every team, every single team in the state of Texas. And the great thing I love about Dave Campbell's is it's not a pro publication. You're not going to find if you come for Cowboy stuff, you need to go somewhere else. But if you want high school or college, we cover over 1,400 high schools, and they do a tremendous job. And then Mike Craven and myself, we cover 47 college teams. So it's so much fun, and we get to wear maroon and gray. I personally am always color neutral when I go to a game because I know better there. But I'm going to be color neutral. My wife and kid, I might steer them to maybe a green or something on Saturday. Yeah.
Don't listen to that guy though, man. He's a troublemaker. So
sounds like a pretty smart guy to me, to be honest with you.
He's Texas Southern through and through.
Well, good. Hey, so am I. I'm all about the state of Texas.
All right, Corey. I love football, and Texas is football crazy, so you can't beat that. Corey, I'd like to thank you for stopping by, and like you said, I'm gonna definitely get in touch with you again. Maybe later on in the season, I'll have you come on again and share your thoughts on what's going on in the FCS world. Yes, definitely. Thank you so much again for having me. Anytime. I love talking football, and my wife enjoys me not bothering her, so it all works out for us in the end. Yeah, that's a winning combination. Yeah. All right, you have a good evening. Thank you. You too. You're welcome. All right, everybody, as y'all can see, we've had a pretty full show. We've had some special guests. I do want to address a couple of things. I don't know, DJ, are you still in the house? I'm gonna see a DJ in here. As y'all can see, I'm by myself. So I'm gonna give a minute, maybe if DJ is in the chat. I'm gonna see if he chime in. But y'all give me y'all thoughts on week 3. We got some big games coming up. We got Jackson State and Grambling. Y'all think Grambling got a chance? I feel like Grambling is gonna. I feel like JSU is a machine right now. I don't know if Grambling is gonna be capable of making a play. So JSU's defense has been really stout. Grambling had a really good game against Northwestern, but you think that'll transfer over? Right now, I'm thinking no. I just in case anybody missed the SWAC Talk preview of week 3, I'm gonna go through my predictions again. You can tell me if I'm crazy or not. We'll start with Oklahoma State and Pine Bluff. I'm sure most people already know what they feel like that game will be. I said Oklahoma State 63-6. I think the Cowpokes are too strong. Pine Bluff had a game where they did what they were supposed to do against North American, but we still don't know who they are either. They played Lane in an NAIA school, so they're going to be tough to figure out. This game, I'm wondering if Valley can find some offense. Quarterback play has not been good. They have struggled with Jelani Eason. I think it's time. I don't like to tell coaches what to do with their players, but I think it's time for Valley to make a quarterback change. They need some fresh blood on the on that offense, because if you can't open up the running game with that passing game, teams are going to key in on Caleb Johnson and Jacoby Thomas, that's a good 1-2 punch at running back. But Delta State's an explosive team. They physical. They always up to the task against an FCS team. So I think they're gonna pull out a close one against Valley, 21-14. Austin P at Alabama A&M. This game, A&M needs to show up. They need to have their offense start to click. We need to figure out who's the guy. If Quincy Casey is the guy, or is Xavier Langford the guy? Who can make the plays at quarterback and take advantage of those weapons? If I have any A&M people in the house, can anybody tell me on what's up with Ibrahim? Is he hasn't really made any appearances. He hasn't had any real stats this season. So I want to know, because that's a very important weapon to their offense. So I really want to see if they can get him going. But at this point, hey, I'm always pick. Come on, Los J. Come on, Los J. And once I don't know if y'all know the Jay-Z line, once every 10-year average. Y'all got y'all's last year. We about to return the rifle order. All right, man. Let me take a real quick pause for the calls. I don't know. I'm gonna let DJ, maybe he can put a little something in the chat, and we're gonna break it down to y'all while I'm flying solo right now. So DJ, if you can throw a little something on the chat to let everybody know what's up and what's going on with you. Hey, you got to ride with your team, man. You always got to ride with your team, but I don't think y'all gonna beat them Cowboys, man. So it's gonna be, if y'all can score some touchdowns, I'll be happy for y'all, man. I'm rooting for you. I'm definitely rooting for you, but I don't see that right now. But I like your confidence though, just like Los J. I like his confidence. But I noticed this last week his score is getting closer and closer. He was talking a big blowout early in the season. I don't think he feels that confident right now. While we wait for DJ to chime in if he's still around. Like I was saying, my Alabama A&M prediction, I think Austin P, their offense is explosive. Dre McCray is a really great wide receiver. Mike DeLilio is a really good quarterback. They have a solid run game. Defense flies around. A&M has to step up, but right now I think Austin P 34-20. So like I said, I like Austin P in that game 34-20. Another game that's hey, take a chance, man. Never know what happened. But them Cowboys, I don't know. The Incarnate Word Prairie game, that Incarnate Word offense is explosive. 55 points on Nevada. That they scored like 60-something points on Southern Illinois. So they score points. Prairie View's defense can make some plays. I think it's going to come down to Prairie View's offense. If that running game can continue to turn out yardage and control that clock. Connolly can continue to make some plays in the pass game. I think the Panthers got a shot, but that Incarnate Word offense right now is pretty explosive, and it's kind of hard to pick against them right now. So I'm thinking, Prairie View, if they can limit their mistakes, 31-10, with a chance to maybe make it a little bit closer. And here's a little bit for y'all from DJ. He had a nice opportunity come up for him, and he has to kind of step away because his job is like what he does is like a conflict of interest with what's going on right now. And with respect to that, he chose to step aside. I was not gonna continue to do the show. I talked to DJ because this is his baby, and I did not want to do SWAC Smoke without his blessing. So he said it was cool. So y'all gonna still get SWAC Smoke and SWAC Talk I'm gonna try to mix it up with guests and just me sometimes. Just try to do some things to keep it going. We grew a nice bond, man. Like I said, I did not know DJ before we did this show, and now I consider him a good friend. So SWAC Smoke helped build that. This community is really solid, man. We got a lot of great people here, and definitely appreciate y'all for supporting it. And the show will still go on. DJ will probably be in the comments whenever he got a chance, so y'all can still chop it up with him now. I might take a picture of him. I don't know if that's gonna get him in trouble. I might take a little picture of him and put it somewhere on the screen, maybe on my board back there, so he can still be around with the show. But like we say, a career opportunity that you cannot pass up, man. I'm so happy for DJ, and whatever goes on off the show is what goes on, and we do what we do here. So I just wanted to shine a little light on it. I wanted it to come from him and not me, so that way you guys can get the clear picture. But he will still be here. He just will not be on the air for the time being. Let's continue my predictions. We got Alcorn at McNeese. McNeese right now is a dumpster fire to me, man. I think that team has some serious issues. I think Alcorn got a great shot if they can get back on that running game and control the ball. Don't turn it over. Hopefully their special teams is back in order, because they had some special teams issues against Stephen F. Austin, and that really hurt them in the second half. McNeese is tough at home. Like I say, strange things happen when you go up there, so you have to be ready for everything. But I love all game the offensive line is playing. Obviously, taking into account the Tulane game, that skews a lot of things. But I still think Alcorn's a solid team. And I say it all the time. I may be overrating Alcorn, but I like Alcorn in this game by a score of 27-17. McNeese has just not played well. And hopefully that means they ripe for the pickings. Hey, don't be busy. If y'all see it here first, if TSU beats Southern, I'll have Los J on the show for a segment or two. So so if y'all want to see Los J on the show, y'all better hope TSU win. But Southern's gonna win, so y'all probably won't get to see Los J on the show. But hey, if he would it for real, I'm with it. Let's make it happen. If you want it, let's do that for real. I like that. All right. The next game I want to talk about, obviously we've talked about it at length today. I like Southern 28-20. I think early TSU is going to take advantage of Southern not really being, comfortable with the offense, especially on third downs and long distances. But I see Southern being able to run the ball in this game. TSU's giving up yardage on the ground of both teams they played, and Southern has a better run game than Prairie View for sure. Southern ran the ball for over 200 yards last week. Southern's a team that runs the ball. Coach Dooley's not going to change that. So if Southern's run game can get going, then I think Southern has a great chance. Now, Southern did run the ball for over 300 yards last year, and it still lost. So that doesn't mean they are shoe in the win. But I like Southern in this game. I think it's going to be a hard-fought game, and I think it can go either way if you want to keep it real. But I'm going with my Jags on that one. And unfortunately, that means y'all won't get to see Los J because they'll lose. But maybe he'll still come on if they lose. So maybe we can get the best of both worlds. And my final game, the prediction: Grambling, Jackson State. A lot of people are saying that this is like the game of the year. They're saying this is a preview of the SWAC championship. I think it's a little too early for that. Jackson State defensively has only given up 6 points all year. They are allowing very minimal run yardage. Grambling is a team that wants to run the football, so that plays directly into what JSU wants to do. I don't know if Grambling's gonna be able to slow down Jackson State's offense. I like JSU 35-10. I think Grambling will have some success, but I just don't see them being able to take care of business. So I think JSU will pull that one out. Grambling will still be a factor in this conference. The one thing for Grambling to take solace in is this is not a conference game. It's a non-conference game. So you don't have to worry about being affected in the standings. But maybe Coach U will have these guys ready. I don't want nobody to say I'm hating on Grambling because I'm not. I just think right now the way JSU is playing on defense, they can beat everybody in the league right now. So somebody has to test them. Maybe it be Grambling. Maybe Grambling will be the team to find the flaws in that defense. We'll find out on Saturday. But that's pretty much my predictions. We'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see how wrong I am this week. Unfortunately, and I say this for the end because I'm gonna run out here after this. Unfortunately, I would not be in Arlington to see Southern beat TSU. So sorry, y'all. Life finds a way, and work has been a little bit off, so I hadn't been able to get my chips right. So I'm not gonna be there, but I'll be there in spirit, and I'll be waiting for the recaps from everybody. So if anybody going to a game this weekend, man, y'all please be careful out there, be safe. HBCU Go, the app, you can get that on Amazon Fire Stick, or your local CW affiliate. Southern TSU will be on HBCU Go 4:00 Central. So if y'all not watching anybody else, watch that game. Support HBCU Go, and hopefully they can continue to grow. So with that being said, man, I'm C. Wells. Signing out. I want to thank my guests for stopping through again. The Forever First Foundation guys from UIW and Corey Hogue from Corey Hogue Sports. Salute to all y'all for tuning in, and I'll catch y'all on Sunday for our next edition of SWAC Talk, and then we'll be back next week for another edition of SWAC Smoke. So with that being said, man, I'm C. Wells. I'm signing out. Y'all have a good evening, and go SWAC.